This video will be a good review if you are not quite sure about how ribs articulate with our thoracic vertebrae. So we're going to start by going over important landmarks of the ribs, how to figure out the superior versus inferior view, and then we're going to put it together with a thoracic vertebrae. So first off, here's a rib. The first thing I want to point out is that we have a sternal end, which is this more flat end that will be swinging around anteriorly and forming that anterior part of our thoracic cage or our rib cage. And then we have our vertebral end. So this is the end with a couple more landmarks here that are going to be articulating with those thoracic vertebrae. Overall, this would be the shaft of the rib, and then the point of the greatest curvature is that angle of the rib. So that would be right up here. Additionally, we have a small process here called the tubercle. We have the head of the rib, and then this narrowing here would be that neck. So tubercle, head, neck, pretty easy to follow. But let's try to put that together with a thoracic vertebrae. So we're gonna bring in our other rib, and I'm gonna take a thoracic vertebrae. If you aren't sure if you're looking at a thoracic vertebrae versus a lumbar vertebrae, remember we can confirm based on the presence of these additional facets, these costal facets. So we have a transverse costal facet, that smooth part here, and then in this case we also have a facet on the body itself. So we call that the costal facet. Here's another vertebrae. So this is a different example with a prominent transverse costal facet, and then we have what looks like a demi-facet. So this is part of a facet. It would be, we would split the difference with another thoracic vertebrae, and the rib would kind of be sandwiched between those two in that complete facet. But we'll use our simpler example today. So we're going to take this vertebrae and line it up with the head and the tubercle of the rib. So I'm going to do my best to show you on the camera, but what we would expect is for the tubercle, this part right here, to fit nicely into that transverse costal process, and then the head of the rib is going to articulate with that costal facet on the body. So it's a little hard to do with both ribs, but they would line up something like this, and I'll give you a bigger view of that. So that is what we would see posteriorly, forming that posterior part of our thoracic rib cage.